Welcome to this class. Today I am continuing the chapter Energy of class 9 and the subject is Science and Technology, and this is fourth part of this chapter and it is taken in unit number 9. And today I am going to focus on hydroelectricity and alternative source of energy. Actually hydroelectricity is also alternative source of energy, but hydroelectricity in general, we are talking in detail about the hydroelectricity and alternative source of energy in the context of Nepal only. Okay, let's start. But before starting the class, I want to mention some other power plants also, because there are three major power plants in the world which are being used for different purpose. One is hydroelectric power plant, another is thermal power plant, and another is nuclear power plant. These three are the major power plant which are being used all over the world, and electricity is produced by these three power plants. And the electricity produced by this power plant is supplied to the household circuit, and they are used in the industry also, they are used in transportation also. In different sector we are dependent on these three power plants. Among them, the hydroelectricity converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. But in thermal power plant, heat energy converts to electrical energy. In nuclear power plant, nuclear energy converts to electrical energy. Power plant means we are generating electrical energy, but in hydroelectric power plant, mechanical energy converts to electrical energy. In thermal, heat energy converts to electrical energy. Nuclear power plant, nuclear energy converts to electrical energy. But today our focus is on hydroelectricity. We are going to focus on this one only. We'll learn detail about the thermal power plant and nuclear power plant in class 10. Okay, let's talk about hydroelectric power plant in detail. Now, first I want to show diagrammatically the working mechanism of hydroelectric power plant. In every hydroelectric power plant, a dam is set where water is collected. It is also called reservoir. Reservoir or dam is set in every hydroelectric power plant. And this is the diagrammatic representation. Really it appears like this. This is the dam of Upper Tamakoshi, and this is one of the dam of Tanzania. And both the dam, look at this, occupies huge surface area. It may be a few square kilometers, and this dam is made to collect water in it. And after this, a tunnel is connected to the dam, and when water runs through the tunnel and it reaches to the turbine, then turbine rotates, and turbine is connected to the generator. Look at this generator. The basic structure of generator consists of magnet and coil is placed in between the north and south pole of the magnet, and when turbine is rotated, then the coil rotates and it rotates in the magnetic field of this magnet. That's why electrical energy produces, and this produced electrical energy is supplied through electric wire. This is the mechanism of the working of hydroelectric power plant. Now let's talk about the energy conversion in this different part of this hydroelectric power plant. At first, let's talk about the dam. Actually, water contained in the dam contains potential energy. When it flows through the tunnel, the same potential energy converts to kinetic energy. And when flowing water rotates the turbine, then kinetic energy converts to mechanical energy, and the same mechanical energy converts to electrical energy in generator. This way, electricity is produced in hydroelectric power plant. The major conversion of energy is mechanical energy is converted to electrical energy. This is the mechanism of the production of electrical energy in hydroelectricity. Okay, now let's talk about the history of Nepal in the context of hydroelectricity. The first hydro project of Nepal was Phorping Hydro Project. Look at this picture. It seems to be a very nice photography, but exactly this is not the photography. This is a dam, and it is in farping. And this dam is made for collecting water. I mean to say, water is collected in this dam, and then it is made to flow through the tunnel. This is the tunnel which runs water in the downward direction. And when it reaches to the powerhouse, then flowing water generate electricity from generator kept in this powerhouse. Till now, still there are two generators in this power plant in Farping. It was established in 1911 at the time of Chandra Samsed. But still there are some generator, 2 units of generator, but not working. Nowadays it is closed just the way. It is closed and not working. Okay, 2 units of 250 kilowatt generators have great historical significance but are not properly preserved. Metal pipes more than 100 years old lie rusting near the reservoir. Near the reservoir, there are many pipes, metal pipes can be seen, which are actually wasted. Now, I want to mention just this. So, we have very long history of hydroelectricity. It was established, the first was established in 1930. The first was established in 1911. It's a long time ago, more than 100 years ago. Okay, now after this information, what are the advantages of hydroelectricity because of which? There are many advantages, important advantages of hydroelectricity. What are they? Number 1, it is cheap source of electricity. Hydroelectricity is cheaper than thermal power plant. It is cheaper than nuclear power plant. Why? Because hydroelectricity runs with the water collected in the dam. And when water is collected in the dam, then only it works. It means water is collected in the dam by the water cycle. And water cycle is conducted by the sun. And because of solar heat energy, water evaporates and goes to the sky and it forms cloud. And when this cloud reaches to the cold places, then precipitation occurs. Because of this precipitation, rainfall occurs. A part of the water is then absorbed by the ground, which forms a pool of water inside the ground, underground water, and a part of the water which falls on the surface of the earth flows in the spring, and some are collected in some water bodies like pond, lake, etc., and remaining flows in the spring and then in river, and lastly they reaches to the sea. This way, actually, what is the source of electricity in hydroelectric power plant? Water. The running water is the source, and water is available because of the water cycle. That's why this is one of the most cheap electricity source. And so we can conclude that it is a cheap source of electricity. This is one of the great advantages of hydroelectricity. Okay, next advantage, it is pollution free. What it mean? It is pollution free. Now I want to show the same diagram again. Have you noticed this? Just the running water rotate the turbine. Nothing burns over there. Nothing burns over there. That's why no any gas produces in this hydroelectric power plant, which doesn't pollute the environment. Because gas is not produced, that's why it doesn't pollute the environment. And so it is pollution free. There's no any chemical reaction also. That's why it is pollution free. So we can write certainly like this also. Why it is pollution free? We can say in hydroelectricity, nothing burns and no any reaction occurs. Just the flowing water is used to rotate the turbine, and turbine runs generator to produce electricity. So hydroelectricity does not pollute the environment. We can say like this. Another advantage also I want to add. It is renewable source of energy. Why it is renewable source of energy? Just before this, I told you that the raw material for hydroelectricity is water. And water is available in this hydroelectric power plant by water cycle. And water cycle is conducted by the sun. And that's why this is one of the consequences of solar energy, and solar energy is renewable source of energy. That's why we can say that hydroelectricity is renewable source of energy. If you are asked about this, you can argue like this: electricity is produced in hydroelectric power plant with the help of flowing water. Water comes to the power plant due to the water cycle. Water cycle is conducted by solar energy. So, hydroelectricity is a kind of solar energy. Since solar energy is renewable source of energy, hence hydroelectricity is also the same. These are major advantages. I want to add one more. Look at this. Water is used in power plant, can be used again for irrigation, fishery, water kingdom, etc. What it mean? It means this is not the single project of hydropower. It may be the combination of different projects. The irrigation project can also be combined with this. The water which is used to rotate the turbine can again be used for irrigation. It can again be used for fishery and making water kingdom for entertainment. That's why this is one of the another advantage of hydroelectricity. Okay, these are the major advantages of hydroelectricity. Now I think you are clear about hydroelectricity. What is it? It's a working principle, working mechanism, energy conversion, its advantages, etc. I told you. Now let's enter into alternative source of energy. What it means? Alternative source of energy. In previous class, somewhere you are taught about the energy crisis. If you remember, what is it? We are dependent on fossil fuel like petroleum, oil, coal, etc. We are using petroleum, oil and coal only for different purpose in this industries also, in transportation also, in the household purpose also. Everywhere we are dependent on fossil fuel. And these fossil fuel are limited in the earth. And one day comes when they are going to be finished from the earth. After a few decades, they are going to be finished from the earth. Then what happens? Then we would have problem of energy. I mean to say, we will not get energy source to use in different purpose. That condition is called energy crisis. And to avoid this energy crisis, we have to think about the alternative source of energy beside the fossil fuel. And what sort of alternative source of energy can be used in Nepal? I am talking about just Nepal only. What sort of alternative sources of energy can be used to avoid energy crisis of the future? I am going to deal about this. First, what is alternative source of energy? We can define this way. The sources of energy which can be used to replace the use of fossil fuel, that means traditional sources of energy, are called alternative source of energy. Generally, they are renewable source of energy like hydroelectricity, biofuel, wind energy, geothermal energy, tidal energy, etc. These may be the alternative source of energy. But for Nepal, we cannot use tidal energy. Tidal energy is related to sea water, and our country is landlocked country. That's why we don't have tidal energy. And there is another also. Look at this geothermal energy. Geothermal energy is obtained from the earth crust, and there must be some hot points in the earth crust. We have very less number of hot points till now, not sourced also. That's why we cannot depend on geothermal energy also. So these two we cannot use, but remaining we can use as alternative source of energy. Let's find the alternative source of energy for Nepal. I think the prime alternative source of energy is hydroelectricity. Not only I think, but it is declared that the major alternative source of energy for Nepal is hydroelectricity, because our hydroelectric capacity is 83 gigawatt. 83 gigawatt, 83,000 megawatt. That means 83 gigawatt. But till now, only 1.2 gigawatt is being used. It is used in different purpose. We have lot of potential of hydroelectricity. That's why one of the best alternative source for Nepal is hydroelectricity. Next, biomass energy may be another alternative source for Nepal. The reason is very simple, because our country is agricultural country, and biomass energy, especially the briquette and biogas, can be produced a lot in the villages, which can be used widely in all the villages of our country, and we can depend on these two sources. Biomass energy may be second alternative source of energy for Nepal. Besides this, wind energy can also be used as alternative source of energy. And beside this, there is another for all, not only for Nepal. This solar energy can also be used as the alternative source of energy. Okay, now I want to talk about each of them. Why hydroelectricity is best alternative? Why biomass is best alternative? Why wind energy? Why solar energy? How can we say so? Now, let's talk one by one. Hydroelectricity, why it is one of the major alternative source of energy for Nepal? There are two reasons. Number one, Nepal is rich in permanent river and glaciers, which can supply water to hydroelectric project very easily. One point. Another point is Nepal is full of slopy land, and because of this slopy land, water can be made to flow in high speed to rotate the turbine. These two are the major point which we have. That's why we can use hydroelectricity as best alternative source of energy. That's why if you have to write, you can write this way. Nepal has lot of water resources, that is permanent rivers, glaciers, etc., are necessary for the hydroelectricity as a source of water. Now, second point, what I told you, Nepal has a lot of slopy lands, mountain, and it is full of mountains and hills, due to which water can be made to flow with high speed to rotate the turbine. Because of these two major reasons, our country is rich in hydroelectricity. That's why hydroelectricity may be the best alternative source of energy which can be used against or in place of this fossil fuel. Okay, let's move on to next alternative source of energy for Nepal. I told you biomass energy. First, we have to remember what is biomass energy. The heat energy obtained from the mass of plant body and animal waste is called biomass energy. Do you remember what is biomass? In previous class also it came, and I told you about this also. The straw is one of the biomass, maybe the straw of rice and maybe the straw of wheat. And this is sawdust, which is also a biomass. In the same way, the husk of rice is also the biomass, and husk of this maize is another biomass, and the shell of coconut is also the biomass. And there are many agricultural wastes which can be dried and can be used to get heat energy. When they burn, they supply heat energy. This way we can say that these are the biomass. Beside this, the animal dung is one of the very good biomass which can be used to get biogas. That's why these biomasses can be used in making briquette and biogas, which may be the best alternative source for Nepal. Okay, let's talk about this also. Biomass is one of the best alternative source of energy for Nepal. How can you say so? If the question comes like this, we can say this way. Nepal is an agricultural country which is full of villages, and we have lot of cattle in the villages. So, cattle dung and agricultural waste can be used to produce biogas. This is one of the major point because of the agricultural country. Now, next is the agricultural waste can be compressed to form briquette, which may be another source of energy in the villages as well as in the cities for different purpose. Now let's talk about the biomass again. Which form of biomass energy is very good for Nepal? If we make briquette, that may be very helpful to us. And if we produce biogas, that becomes very helpful to us. Now let's talk about the briquette. What is it exactly? It was taught in previous class in detail. I want to just recall only. Briquette is compressed block of biomass material. Look at these are the briquettes. The briquettes is just the biomass material dried and compressed and solid block is made, and this briquette can be burned to get heat energy for different purposes. And this briquette is of two types. One is carbonized briquette, another is non-carbonized briquette. And carbonized briquette appears like this, non-carbonized briquette appears this way. I mean to say carbonized briquette is black in color because the biomass is converted to charcoal, and non-carbonized briquette is not converted to charcoal, just it is dried and compressed and solid block is made. The difference is a little. When it burns, it produces less amount of smoke. Which one? Carbonized briquette. But non-carbonized briquette produces a little more amount of smoke because it contains volatile material also. The charcoal is not concentrated here. Okay. It contains carbon but not in the form of charcoal. Okay. Now after this, let's talk about another, biogas. I told you there are two ways to use biomass in Nepal. Best ways. There are many ways, but best ways. I am suggesting the best ways, briquette and biogas. Now let's talk about biogas. What is biogas? Gas obtained by the anaerobic decomposition of cattle dung and agricultural waste, which mainly contains methane gas, is called biogas. We can define biogas in the context of the method of preparation. In the context of method of preparation, this way we can define. But in the context of the composition, we can say like this also. Biogas is a mixture of methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen and hydrogen sulfide. The major component is methane, which is 65% in biogas. The major constituent of biogas is methane. You have to remember this is 65%. In the sense of composition, we can define biogas this way, but in the sense of preparation, we can define biogas in this first way, first method. Okay, now how it is prepared exactly? It was taught in detail in previous class, but I want to just recall only because we have to remember that this is one of the best alternative for Nepal. That's why we are talking about all this. Biogas plant. This plant consists of three different types of tank. One is mixing tank, another is digester tank, another is overflow tank. It has got three tanks. And a slurry of animal dung and water made in equal proportion should be feeded from this mixing tank. And when it is feeded here, it reaches to digester tank, and it takes about 50 to 60 days for anaerobic decomposition. Anaerobic decomposition takes place in the absence of oxygen but in the presence of water, which produces mainly methane gas, and this is biogas. And this biogas can be taken out from this outlet. But when biogas produces in huge amount, then biogas produced in this plant exert pressure on the material which is placed in this digester tank, that is the slurry of animal dung and water, and this pressurized animal dung and water is then pushed to this overflow tank. Now the use of animal dung and the water, the slurry of animal dung and water which is collected in this overflow tank can be used again as a fertilizer because it contains an important constituent, that is nitrogen and phosphorus, which is very good for the growth of plant. And this way biogas plant produces gas. Not only gas, it gives us fertilizer also. Okay. Now I want to show you another also. Another means I'm talking continuously about the alternative source of energy, and third alternative source of energy, I told you, wind energy. What is wind energy exactly? The energy obtained by the blowing air is called wind energy. And wind energy can be utilized by different ways. Number one, by using wind water pump. Second, by using wind power plant. Third, by using windmill. Wind water pump, wind power plant, windmill are the method of use of wind energy for different purpose. I want to talk about each of them with diagram. Look at this. Wind water pump. It appears like this. This is the diagrammatic representation of wind water pump. It consists of wind turbine. It is connected to an axle, and axle is connected to the piston of this water pump, and when wind blows, then wind turbine rotates, it rotates the axle, and axle moves the piston up and down. This way, when piston moves up and down, then water is pulled out. Underground water can be pulled out, and it can be set in the big field. Every time it keeps on working. How long we want? For that time, it keeps on working, and blowing air is responsible for pulling of water. Okay. Now, if we have to write something about this, then we can write this way how it works. In a wind water pump, wind turbine is rotated by the use of wind energy, which is used to move the piston of the water pump up and down, due to which underground water can be pulled out by the water pump. This is about the wind water pump. Now let's talk about another wind power plant. This is diagrammatic representation of wind power plant. It consists of a wind turbine, and it is connected to an axle. Axle is connected to the turbine of generator. And when wind blows, then axle rotates with the turbine, and rotating axle rotates the coil of the generator, and coil is placed in the magnetic field. That's why the electricity is generated in generator, which can be supplied by conducting wires. This way it works. We can write certainly like this. In a wind power plant, at first wind turbine is rotated with the help of blowing air, which runs a generator, and wind energy converts to electrical energy. In the same way, windmill. Let's talk about the windmill. Windmill also consists of a big wind turbine, and this is used to grind the wheat, rice, pulses, etc. In a windmill, wind turbine is rotated by the use of wind energy, which is used to rotate a big stone over another stationary stone. This structure is used to grind wheat, paddy, pulses, etc. I want to show one diagram. Look at this. This big stone, instead of big stone, we can use metal also. But this big stone or big metallic, circular metallic body is rotated by the help of wind turbine. And when it rotates over this pulses, paddy, wheat, etc., then they are crossed. This way windmill works. We are continuously talking about the alternative source of energy. All the alternative sources of energy are renewable source of energy, and the number one for Nepal is hydroelectricity. Second, I told you biomass energy, and third, I told you about the wind energy. Now I am talking about the solar energy. Solar energy, this is alternative source of energy for all, but we can use this in Nepal also. We can use solar cooker, which appears like this. It was taught in previous class also how solar cooker works. Solar heat energy is reflected to a utensil. If we put certain food substances in the utensil, that can be cooked easily. This is the working of solar cooker. It was taught in previous class also. Solar water heater. This is very common in city area. We have solar water heater at the upper side of our building. This solar water heater is very useful in cold places, cold cities and cold areas. Okay, now next is solar dryer. Solar dryer, which appears like this. This construction of solar dryer is like this. Cold air goes inside, and when it is heated by the solar heat energy, then it becomes hot and comes out along with the moisture. The moisture is taken out from these food substances. This solar energy can be used in dryer, which is called solar dryer. Now next is solar cells. Solar cells are used to convert solar light energy into electrical energy. This is single cell. When cells are arranged in this way, then it forms solar module, and solar module are if connected to each other, then it forms solar panel, and solar panel are if connected to each other, then it forms solar array. According to the requirement, according to the amount of electrical energy which we want. According to that, we either use solar panel or we use solar array. And all these devices utilize solar light energy, and solar light energy is actually converts to solar light energy actually converts to electrical energy by these solar cells. Okay. Now I want to recall the name only. What I told you, alternative source of energy for Nepal. The first one, hydroelectricity. Second, biomass energy, maybe briquette or biogas. And another alternative source of energy we can use in Nepal is wind energy. Another is solar energy. This may be the best alternative source of energy for Nepal. In place of fossil fuel, we can use all these. All these are renewable sources of energy. Okay. After all this, now it's time of question. Why don't we answer some question? This is a statement. Water used in hydroelectricity is provided by the water cycle. So, it is a renewable source of energy. Is it correct? Now, let's think about this. First, think about this. And argument 1, hydroelectricity is very cheap because its installment cost is very less. This is correct or not? Think about this. And argument 2, hydroelectric project can be considered as the multi-purpose project. This argument is correct or not? Looking at this statement and argument, now we have to decide which option is correct among these four. Now check it one by one. Only statement is correct. Is this correct? Water used in hydroelectricity is provided by water cycle. Yes, this is correct, but the remaining part, so it is a renewable source of energy. Yes, this part is also correct. That's why the whole statement is correct. But what is written here? Only statement is correct. Maybe arguments are also correct. That's why we cannot say that this is correct option, because we have to read arguments also. That's why this option number 1 is suspended. May be correct, may not be correct. Okay, let's go to 2. Only argument 1 is correct. Hydroelectricity is very cheap because its installment cost is very less. Hydroelectricity is very cheap, yes, but installment cost is very less. This is not correct because installment cost for hydroelectricity is actually making of dam. It takes huge cost for making dam. The dam is of few square kilometer area. That's why installment cost of hydroelectricity is more, but on the long run it becomes very cheap because we don't have to invest again and again. Once it is installed, then we have to maintain only. So this point is not correct. Installment cost is more, but on the long run, because we don't need to invest any money or any source of energy here, so it becomes cheap. That's why argument 1 is not correct. So number 2, option number 2 is incorrect. Both the arguments are correct, but argument 1 is if incorrect, then how it is possible that both the arguments are correct? That's why we have to drop this option also. Number 3, statement and argument 2 are correct. Statement is correct, we know. Argument 2, let's see. Hydroelectric project can be considered as the multi-purpose project. Yes, this is correct, because hydroelectric project is not made only for hydroelectricity. The used water can be used again for irrigation, it can be used again for fishery, it can be used again for the making water kingdom, different water kingdom. So this is multi-purpose project. This point is correct. Argument 2 is correct. So statement and argument 2 both are correct, and it is given in option number 4. This is the correct option. Now let's talk about some other question also. Find the correct and incorrect arguments from the following. Arguments are: in biogas plant there are 3 tanks: mixing tank, digester tank and outlet tank. Is it correct? Now think about this. Briquette pollutes the environment than that of the windmill. briquette is compared with the energy produced by the windmill. It's correct or not? Biogas is a mixture of methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen and hydrogen sulfide. Is this correct? Another point, biogas can be used as source of heat energy but not the source of light. This argument is correct or not? Now looking at all these, we have to declare whether these arguments are correct or not. First argument, in biogas plant there are 3 tanks: mixing tank, yes; digester tank, yes; outlet tank. What do you think? Not outlet tank, overflow tank. And outlet tank is written here, that's why this option is wrong. Okay, next, briquette pollutes the environment than that of windmill. Yes, briquette when burns, then carbon dioxide gas produces. If this briquette is non-carbonized briquette, then other than carbon dioxide gas, there are other gases also, they also produces. That's why the briquette pollutes the environment, but windmill doesn't pollute the environment, because windmill utilize the blowing air only and there is no pollution, nothing burns, no any chemical reaction. That's why this is correct option. Biogas is a mixture of methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen and hydrogen sulfide. Yes, the composition of biogas is this, but methane is 65%, major proportion is of methane. Now fourth one, biogas can be used as the source of heat energy but not the source of light energy. What do you think? No. From biogas we can get light also. When biogas burns, its calorific value is very high. In the villages we can get light energy, or we can illuminate our room by burning biogas also. That's why it can be used as a source of light also in the village. That's why this point is wrong. Okay, after all this, I want to recall what we did in this class. First, I told you about the hydroelectricity. What is it, how it works, and what are the advantages of hydroelectricity, what is the working mechanism of hydroelectricity, etc., etc. In general, we studied a little detail about the hydroelectricity. Then we entered into what alternative sources of energy for Nepal. I told you about few alternative sources of energy for Nepal, best among other: hydroelectricity and biomass energy, and then wind energy, and then solar energy. I told about 4 best alternative source of energy for Nepal, which are renewable source of energy. Okay, now I'm going to stop this class. We'll meet in another class with some another matter. Thank you.